In this video, I want to talk about flow states. Now, what are flow states? Well, in a flow state, you're so engaged with the surroundings and what's happening that you forget yourself entirely. Now, sound familiar? It's almost like a form of meditation, except this time you're completely switched onto the world around you. And this is something that most of us have experienced at some time in our lives, and you may be familiar with it if you think back. For example, have you ever been in a running race or some other type of sport where you're so focused on what's going on that you completely lose track of where you are, that you don't really think of anything at all other than getting across that finish line and getting across that finish line in front of everybody else? You don't even realize when you're running down the street exactly where you are on the route. If you've ever run a marathon on a street circuit, you might not realize exactly where you are because you're so focused on the activity that you're engaging in, that you're actually running the race, that you really lose track of exactly where you are. Or have you been writing something and you've got so involved in the actual writing process that you completely lose track of time? Like the girl in this picture here, she's writing away and she's so focused that she hasn't realized that her tea's gone cold. When she comes to take a sip of it, it's stone cold because she's got so involved in the writing process that she's just completely lost track of time. Or have you had a conversation that's lasted all night? You just sat up talking and talking and talking and you didn't realize it. And then before you know it, dawn's breaking and you realize that you've been up all night talking, but you don't feel tired because you're so involved in the process. Or have you been watching a box set on TV? You've bought the box set of DVDs and you've watched the first one and you've got so involved you think, okay, yeah, let's have another one. And you just simply watch one after another, after another, after another. And then before you realize it, it's 4 o'clock in the morning and you started watching all these TV program box sets, in the afternoon. So you just got so involved, you're so concentrated on what's going on. And this is a lot like action meditation, and it's thought to be at the heart of most of our scientific breakthroughs, most record-breaking athletic accomplishments, and all kinds of other examples of people acting their very best. So how do flow states work, and how do they fit in with how the rest of the human brain works? Well, basically, a flow state is very similar to the fight or flight response, but with less negativity, you could say. And it means that you think what's happening around you is very important and deserves all of your attention. As a result, your body starts to produce dopamine and other neurotransmitters. And this causes your brain to become intensely focused, which creates the illusion that time has slowed down. And you gain a kind of tunnel vision. And now the only thing that you're focused on is that one moment and the things that you have to do to emerge from it victorious. So how can you train your brain to enter flow states at will? Well, first of all, relax. Take a few deep breaths and set your mind to your task. Concentrate on just one task at a time. Turn off your internal monologue and ignore distractions as much as possible. And many people find it useful to engage in some sort of ritual at this point to remind your brain that you want to enter a flow state. So you could clap your hands, for example. Then focus all your attention on the present moment. Don't think about the past or the future. The task at hand is what matters and nothing else. And then slowly set about your task. Treat it like an action meditation exercise. If you find your mind starts to wander, then bring it back into focus by shutting out any chatter. And challenge yourself to stay focused for as long as possible. And with practice, you'll find that you can turn a flow state on at will. So start with something simple. Brushing your teeth is a good example. And then move on to more complicated tasks like cooking a meal. Now, don't expect too much too soon because it does take some time to actually master this. But when you have mastered it, you'll see your productivity soar.